She sits there, perfectly still, hands folded, eyes forward, the picture of innocence. Her defense team spent weeks constructing the narrative. Terrified teenager, brutal aggressor, no other choice. They showed the jury footage of her backing away. 45 steps, they counted. 45 deliberate steps of retreat. Self-defense, they argued. What else could she have done? The courtroom was buying it. Some jurors nodded along. Then the prosecution played one video, one single clip that her lawyers prayed would never surface. And in that moment, every carefully crafted lie began to crumble.
Hold up, sis!
Hey, get off my sister, bro! Get off my sister! Hey, if you touch my sister again, I'm gonna have to put my phone down, bro. Haliyah, crunch your to get it over with, bro. Crunch your to get it over with, Haliyah.
That wasn't fear. That wasn't self-defense. That was a hunt. March 27, 2023. A smoke shop parking lot in Columbus. Two former best friends. One knife, one fatal wound to the neck. Haliyah Colbertson bled out on the concrete while the person who killed her walked away. But here's what makes this case unforgettable. The killer didn't just document her own crime, she narrated it. She invited witnesses. She made sure everyone would see exactly what she was about to do. This isn't a story about a scared teenager protecting herself. This is a story about rage, premeditation, and what happens when someone mistakes murder for justice. Because what you just watched, that was only the beginning. Westerville, Ohio, quiet suburbs, manicured lawns, the kind of place where nothing truly dark is supposed to happen. Bryanna Barozzini was living the script perfectly. College classes, part-time job, solid grades, zero criminal record. She looked like every parent's dream. Clean-cut, responsible, safe. But on March 27th, 2023, when she walked into that smoke shop with a work knife tucked in her pocket, she wasn't thinking about her future. She was thinking about revenge. And by the time she walked out, a 17-year-old girl would be gasping for air in a parking lot. Bleeding out from a single, deliberate wound to the neck, Haliyah Colbertson never saw it coming. She shouldn't have had to. She was 17, full of life, full of dreams, the kind of girl who made every room brighter just by walking into it. Her family adored her. Her grandparents, Vicky and Harley, called her their light. Friends said she had this gift, this way of making you feel like you were the most important person in the world when she talked to you. She collected best friends the way some people collect memories. Open heart, radiant smile. A girl who loved without reservation. And that's exactly how she'd loved Bryanna once best friends. Inseparable. The kind of teenage bond that feels eternal, unbreakable until it breaks. And when it broke, sometime around the fall of 2022, it didn't just fracture, it festered. It twisted into something venomous, something neither of them could walk away from. What started as a friendship ended in a hunting ground. And Bryanna, she wasn't running away. She was counting her steps forward. To understand how Bryanna Barozzini went from honor student to killer, you have to understand when the friendship didn't just end. It detonated. According to Bryanna herself, talking to detectives hours after the stabbing, it all started falling apart in the fall of 2022. Haliyah used to be a really good friend of mine. And then I found out a lot, that she's just a really bad person. So I stopped being friends with her, and my friends stopped talking to her, and then, after that, she pretty much just went crazy. Like saying she was going to kill us and slash his tires and do all these things, like she does to most people. Fear mixed with rage, resentment hardening into something cold and deliberate. And once that seed was planted, it was only a matter of time before it bloomed into violence.
Haliyah, crunch your to get it over with, bro. Crunch your to get it over with, Haliyah.
Bryanna and her friend had been driving around for hours. Music, conversation, killing time. Her brother stayed on the phone the whole time, checking in from his truck, the protective older sibling, making sure his little sister was safe. Around 11:30 p.m., they pulled into 161 Carry Out, a smoke shop in northeast Columbus, their usual spot routine. But the moment Bryanna walked through that door at 11:45, still on the phone with her brother, everything shifted. She heard voices, the ones that don't like me, Haliyah Colbertson, and her friends. Bryanna kept her head down, pretended not to notice, but they saw her, and Haliyah couldn't resist one word. Thrown across the store like a grenade. Bitch. That's all it took. Not a threat. Not a weapon.
All right, what happened?
Bryanna Barozzini stabbed her. They were getting into a fight. I was sitting in the Jeep because I cannot be around. They got into a fight, and as Haliyah walked to the front door of the Jeep, I saw she had a gash on her. She got in the car, and she goes, "I'm getting nauseous." I hopped out the car. I called 911 because I didn't see the fight. I was sitting in the Jeep looking away because I can't be part of that family.
So you didn't see the actual fight?
No, but I know who Bryanna Barozzini is. I know her mother, and I know her address.
Okay.
When Officer Martinez pulled up to 161 Carry Out at 11:58 p.m., the scene was chaos. Some crying, some on their phones, some just frozen in shock. But Martinez didn't freeze. But here's what made Martinez's blood run cold. What she told him next wasn't about the stabbing itself. They knew, she said. Before they even left the store, everyone knew they were about to fight. People were talking about it.
I didn't see her get stabbed at all.
Okay.
It just looked like they were throwing punches.
Okay. Do you know either of them?
I know her, that was it.
Who?
Haliyah, the one that got stabbed, that was it.
You know her, but you don't know...
I barely, I know him. I worked with Dalen for a little bit, and I was hanging out with him tonight.
I need you... Where did it happen at?
Yeah, that's here. Take that. Just right here in the front.
Like in the front of the smoke shop?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He's got the whole thing on video.
On video?
Whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's fantastic.
I mean, it's crystal clear HD video. There were two girls standing right here fighting. They were just mouthing.
Where at? Does it show? Just I want to make sure I get the whole scene.
Wherever there's blood is right where it happened.
Okay.
Because she started sparking. It had to have been.
Oh, it was all the way up here by this. That's where she was laying.
It was random as she came in while we came in. Like, it was random as
In the smoke shop?
Yeah, in the smoke shop right there.
Okay.
It just
and
happened to come in, and they started going at it in the store, and Bree called Haliyah a cokehead.
Okay.
Haliyah's a sober, like she's a recovering addict. So she took that into great offense. You know, I don't know if you've met any recovering addicts, but like me personally, I'm one.
Who was an addict? I'm sorry.
Haliyah was an addict. So, and she called Haliyah out on being
a cokehead.
Yeah. So like Haliyah got mad, and Haliyah was waiting outside, and they were supposed to just fight. It was supposed to just be a fight. I was there. I was supposed to be like in between it. I didn't even see a knife get pulled.
Okay.
Like, I'm not sure if it was a knife or if she had a ring on her finger and just got her. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because the knife got pulled out and it was on the ground and I saw it.
What kind of knife was it?
It looked like a switchblade, like a butterfly knife type of knife. We didn't know she was bleeding out till she got it back. She crunched Bree in the face. Bree was on the ground and she walked away. Haliyah walked away, got in the Jeep ready to drive.
Right.
And she was sitting there, and Kenzie comes over to me and goes, she's spitting blood out of her chest. And I come over and I just see, like, right in this area on the right or left side of her chest.
By the time Officer Martinez finished interviewing witnesses and reviewed the footage, the picture was crystal clear. No mystery, no ambiguity. The video showed everything: the taunts, the chase, the fatal strike. Bryanna Barozzini wasn't a victim. She was the aggressor. And while Haliyah was fighting for her life in that parking lot, Bryanna had calmly walked away, gotten in her car, and driven home. But she didn't just go home and wait. She got to work. When detectives arrived at her house hours later to bring her in for questioning, Bryanna had already scrubbed the crime scene from her body. The blood-stained clothes? Washed. The knife from her work apron. The one she'd carried into that store? The one she'd plunged into Haliyah's neck? Hidden. Tucked away somewhere she thought no one would find it. She'd had time to think. Time to clean. Time to craft her story. And when Detective Harris sat across from her in that sterile interrogation room, Bryanna delivered an Oscar-worthy performance: tears, trembling hands, wide, terrified eyes. She played the traumatized teenager perfectly. Voice shaking, words stuttering, the picture of someone in shock. I was so scared. I didn't know what to do. She came at me. I don't even remember. But Detective Harris had seen this before. He'd watched the video. He'd read the witness statements. He knew what happened in that parking lot. And as Bryanna sat there playing victim, he let her talk. Let her dig her own grave with every carefully rehearsed lie.
Just so that you know, Talia was taken to the hospital, and that's where she died. She didn't survive her injuries. So with all the people that we interviewed and the video that we recovered, we're charging you with murder.
No sort of self-defense or anything?
Essentially, it'll be up to the prosecutor's office. We'll present the case to them, and then if they decided that they want us to present to the grand jury, we'll present to the grand jury. If you get indicted for it, then it'll go to trial, it'll go to court, and then you'll be able to present a self-defense claim at that point. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions for me at this time? Do you want me to call your mom right now, or do you want to call her? You'll get a call when you get to the county jail.
I'm not going home?
No, you're going to jail. Because we're charging you with the murder. You'll go to county jail. Tomorrow you'll go to court for your first arraignment. They'll set your bond. And then at that point we have 10 days to present the case to the grand jury for indictment. If we don't do that, you have to be released. If you don't post bond, if we do present to the grand jury and they what's called a no bill, if they decline charges, then the case is dismissed at that point. That's kind of the process right now. So you'll go right now, some patrol officers will take you down to the county jail. You'll get slated down there under the one charge of murder. Tomorrow you'll go to court where they'll set your bond. So when you do get down to the county, we'll have access to a phone if you want to call your family then.
I would like to call my mom.
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as possible.
Yeah. So right now they're going to take you down one floor, and right there they'll take take photos of you and take your fingerprints. That's just process. That's just policy. And then you'll be driven down to Franklin County Jail. You have any questions or anything like that? Do you have anything else on you besides anything in your pockets or anything like that? You just got a bracelet. Do you have earrings in?
I have a necklace.
Okay.
Never mind, I don't know where that went.
You don't have your necklace anymore. Okay. Do you have any questions of me right now?
No, just wanna be sure I can call my mom and get all the way already.
Yep, you'll be able to do that. All right. I'll sit tight just for a sec, officer, to be with you.
You stand up for me? Face the wall.
Put your palms together like this. There you go. Lift your hands off your back a little bit.
Okay, listen close because this opening moment sets the entire tone. The judge walks in and immediately you can feel the weight in that courtroom. He tells everyone he's reviewed the surveillance footage personally. He watched it the night before, and then he drops this clear warning. This is a courtroom, not the street. I will lock people up for contempt. This isn't just formality, guys. This is a judge who already knows exactly how devastating this case is going to be. Pay attention to his face when he says he's seen it all in 15 years. This one still got to him.
All right, let's get started. So, our next case is State of Ohio versus Bryanna Barozzini, 23 CR 1730. We're here today for sentencing. The court's had the benefit of the pre-sentence investigation, sentencing memorandum filed on behalf of the defendant. The court also had the benefit of reviewing exhibits, photographs taken by the detectives, and the video. I spent a fair amount of time reviewing the video last night. So these are the items that I have reviewed and the pre-sentence investigation. So before we get started, I want to let everybody know, I understand this is an emotional and heart-rendering situation. But I do expect decorum. That's why we have the officers here. This is a courtroom. It's not the street. We have rules. If you disobey the rules, you're going out of the courtroom. If you disrupt the proceedings, you can be held in contempt and locked up. I've done it before. I don't want to do that today. Again, I understand this is an emotional situation. I'm going to let you have 5 people instead of the 4 that we generally allow. And whatever presentation you have, we're going to listen to that.
Now, meet Catherine, Haliyah's grandmother. What you're about to hear is how a grandmother remembers her granddaughter. She starts with the moment Haliyah got her name, and you can just hear the love in her voice when she describes that baby smiling. But I need you to really listen to the details she gives. The stolen base and softball, the dog pulling her through the snow, knowing every neighbor by name. This isn't just a grieving grandmother. This is someone painting a picture of a girl who was vital, a girl who lit up every room. And that last line? I canceled because I wasn't feeling well. That's the kind of guilt that destroys families. Watch her voice crack when she says, "What if?" This is where you start to understand this wasn't just a case. This was a universe of potential. Gone.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Catherine Langley, Langley.
Thank you. What would you like to tell me?
I am Haliyah's grandmother. Being a witness at the birth of Haliyah was an honor and has been etched in detail in my memory. I truly believe that was a heavenly gift from God, knowing that Haliyah's time with us was short. Haley, Haliyah's mama, had a naming ceremony for her. She placed her precious little baby on her hospital bed and started with names she had considered, and when she said Haliyah, there was a smile on that sweet baby's face. So that was her name. Haliyah was involved in ballet, softball, baseball, lacrosse. She was a good swimmer and pretty good at diving, which I taught even though I couldn't dive myself. She loved to skateboard and dirt bike. She was willing to try anything, and you could see the joy on her face. She had a God-given talent for athletics. I remember one softball game, she had stolen third base, and the next hit, the coach waved her home, but the ball was thrown home, so Haliyah was caught between home and third base. So she ran between the bases and running between third base and home. She finally made her play and ran and slid home, and she was called safe for the winning run. When she was about 3, she wanted to walk our dog, a playful lab, golden retriever mix. It had snowed about 4 inches. Haliyah slipped and the dog pulled her along on her tummy, but she never let go of the leash. She came in covered in snow with the biggest smile on her face, thrilled for the ride. She loved it. When my husband and I moved into a new neighborhood, she knew our neighbors before we did. They knew her by name and she knew theirs and how many kids they had. This was part of the message I shared at Haliyah's celebration of life service, which sounds so absurd since she was only 17. She hadn't even begun to understand what she had to offer this world. Her family and friends didn't even get a chance to watch how far her talents and love for life would take her.
This is where it gets almost surreal. Catherine starts reading a letter written as if Haliyah herself wrote it from the afterlife. Guys, I have listened to hundreds of victim impact statements. But this hits different. Haliyah, through her grandmother's voice, describes bleeding out on that pavement. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. And then she directly addresses the camera. I may have made a mistake, but I didn't deserve this. When she says, I could have been your sister, your daughter, that's not just rhetoric. That's a 17-year-old girl begging you to see her humanity. And that postscript about the plea deal? Is that really all my life was worth? That question is going to haunt you.
And through this, I have also heard Haliyah speaking to me. My name is Haliyah Colbertson. I was 17 years old on the 27th of March, 2023. I was left on a dirty pavement in the cold and dark, mortally wounded from a knife wound inflicted by my killer. This was no accident. My killer intended on taking my life. Instead of calling for help, my killer fled the scene. Killer went home to hide the knife and shoes splattered with my blood, put the bloody clothes in the washer and got a shower. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I could feel myself slipping away. I went from being a normal teenager to fighting for my life. Some people think that this was my fault. I may have made a mistake. If so, I own that. But I didn't deserve this. I had so many plans, so much to live for, so much to do and see. I miss my sister. I love her so much, and she really needed me. I hope the next time something like this happens, the victim won't be blamed for being murdered while the killer gets a pass. I deserve better. I was just a normal girl trying to find my way. I could have been your sister, your daughter, or even your granddaughter. So please, I know you will do your very best to make sure that my killer is punished for what she did to me. Thank you, Haliyah.
Now, meet Mackenzie. She was basically Haliyah's chosen sister. She starts off trying to hold it together, but watch when she gets to the part about the cat they co-parented. That's when you realize these were kids living normal kid lives. But here's where you need to listen very carefully. At 21:51, she completely breaks down. She says she's been dealing with her killer and her family for 6 years. 6 years. That means this feud started when they were children. And that nightmare she describes? Reliving March 27th every single night, waking up at 5:30 a.m., screaming, that's PTSD in real time. The most powerful line, her killer got to spend every holiday with her family. We didn't. That contrast is what this case is about.
My name is Mackenzie Adrian, Adrean. Haliyah was like my little sister and my best friend. I've wrote this about 1 million times, and Haliyah was like a little sister I never had. I loved her like she was my blood. She knew how to laugh and make things seem like they weren't as bad as they really were. She was always there if you needed to talk or to cry or even to scream in a car, to literally any song. She was always that person. If she knew that she couldn't defend themselves, if someone couldn't defend themselves, she would stand up and defend them for her friends. As she always wanted to be 18 years old, it was like her goal. When I met her, actually, I didn't know her name for a day. Until the next day she called me and we just called each other Blue and Zuzu. In this disguise Haliyah used to wear, she used to act like she was not caring, and she would act like nothing ever hurt her, but Haliyah was that girl who hid behind this mask, and she was sensitive. And her heart was big, and that if someone she loved hurt her feelings, it broke her. She was 17 years old when she lost her life. She had so many things she wanted to do with her life, and when I used to come back over to her family was always there. One of them was always there. We used to just make TikToks with Haliyah and her little sister, Kaylin. One of my favorite memories of Haliyah was when we got this cat and we co-parented her. We spent a long time to figure out a real name for her. And that cat, Haliyah's little sister, Kaylin, now takes care of ever since Haliyah has been gone. There's a million things about who Haliyah was, but in all honesty, if you ever got the chance to meet her, she would have made an impact on anyone's life she ever met. She is the reason I wear a nose ring, have a certain tattoos, think about the world differently. She used to always tell me all the time, let me buy your car. I always say no, and now I've never drove that car since she died. She was the most beautiful person I've ever met. Everything about her, her strengths, her hardships, her sadness, her anger, her soul. She was one in a million. And the reason I wanted to write this, and I wanted to speak, was to tell you who Haliyah was. And my personal feelings towards this whole thing.
Take your time, it's fine.
I'd rather be standing at her wedding and giving a speech, or her graduation. But I'm here, and I know Haliyah, and I know her killer. The past 6 years of my life, I've dealt with her killer, her family.
This is Haliyah's actual sister, Kaylin, and she brings the timeline that will break you. The last phone call, March 26th, 10:50 p.m., 24 seconds. I asked her, no boys, right? She smiled over the phone. Kaylin was being the protective little sister. And the last thing she said? Call me in the morning. Stay safe. I love you so much. Haliyah said, I love you too, sis, and hung up. Less than 2 hours later, she was dead. Kaylin makes you feel what it means to be lost without her. She says she'll never have friends because she had Haliyah, and that was enough. The detail about getting older than her older sister? That's not just sad, that's a fundamental violation of how life is supposed to work.
My name is Haliyah Colbertson, Culbertson. Your Honor, I would like to tell you about my big sister, Haliyah. My sister, my protector, my best friend. Haliyah was a strong-willed woman who struggled in life but never gave up. She worked so hard everywhere she could. She made sure I was always taken care of. She worked non-stop. She always loved keeping herself busy and always made sure to give her all everywhere she could. She was always so determined to have a bright future. She was working towards it every day. I would like to take this time to express the pain and suffering due to the brutal murder of my sister, Haliyah. I can hardly stand the pain at times. The thought of the last night of her life will be with me always. Haliyah was the closest person I had by my side and in my circle. She was the kindest, most loving sister I could ever ask for. Throughout my life, I always looked up to Haliyah. She has been there to share my joy and laughter as much as she has been there to be my shoulder to cry on and pick me up when I was at my worst. Haliyah had the biggest heart, and no matter what was going on with her, Haliyah always put others first. She was always helping anyone she could. She had the strongest soul, and she always stood up for everybody, including me. Wherever and whenever anyone needed her, Haliyah was always one call away. When I would break down anywhere I was, she would always find a way to come get me and cheer me up and tell me not to let this world hurt me. No matter how hard it got, I knew she would always be right by my side to bring my smile back. The very last time I heard my sister's voice was March 26th at 10:50 p.m. I called her just to see what she was up to. And as she picks up the phone, I ask her where she is and who she was with. She laughed and told me she was hanging out at her friend's house. I asked her, no boys, right? She smiled over the phone. I was always making sure she was okay and having a good night. And the last thing I told her was to call me in the morning and stay safe and that I love her so much. She said, I love you too, sis, and hung up. Little did I know that that would be the very last time I would ever get to hear her voice. A 24-second phone call I never expected to be the last. On March 27th at 12:24 in the morning, my beloved sister was gone. This villain took my sister's life that night, but my sister's life was not the only thing it took. It robbed me of my happiness. It stole my smile. It took the best part of me I will never be able to get back. Because of this, my sister is gone forever, and every time I want to talk to Haliyah, I have to go sit at a graveyard and talk to her headstone. Wishing I could just hear her voice one more time. I wish I could just wake up and run into her room and lay in her bed and hug her and tell her I love her just one more time. This villain ruined every memory Haliyah never got to make. Because of this, I never got to watch my sister walk across the stage and graduate high school. Because of this, I never got to see my sister go on to college and get a degree.
Now we hear from Haley, Haliyah's mother, and she comes prepared. She's counted every single day. 472 days. She's turned grief into a mathematical equation of pain. But here's what makes her testimony absolutely incendiary. She directly calls out the prosecutors. She says, "You told my family you would fight for me. You did not." She's essentially accusing the system of giving up on her daughter. And when she talks about having to choose a casket, what clothes Haliyah would wear to stay warm, that juxtaposition of maternal instinct with death is absolutely shattering. This mother isn't just grieving. She's furious at a system she sees as fundamentally broken.
You counted them? Have you lost track of them? Have you celebrated them with people you love? Have you sat quietly by a stone while hoping your angels were watching from up above? Have you made any change in your life to be better than at least the day before? Or have you given up, checked out, no point in playing life anymore? 472 days ago, time marked. Before this, after this. New words given to the grieving. Moving forward. The day you realize moving forward is forever different. Each day now becomes a blessing and a curse. Blessed to see the last 472 days, breathe the air, to go on living. Cursed to go on with the most important family member missing, Haliyah, my firstborn. I taught my family love because that's what was taught to me. We teach and love our family unconditionally. Haliyah took that love to share with the world. Life was her adventure every day. Every day, something new, something amazing. She wanted to go everywhere, do everything. She just couldn't wait. In the midst of our grief, we were forced to face a justice system that seemed to overlook the true gravity of the tragedy, or attempt to even fight for it. Every attempt to convey our feelings, maybe they heard it, however ignored it. No plea, no deal, not fair. Go to trial, bring light. I want the facts even when they suck. Thoughts become your words, become your actions. We've gone over this. A plea deal to the person that took her life, someone who had already expressed their intent. It feels like a betrayal of my daughter's memory and the justice that she was promised. How can a plea deal for involuntary manslaughter be enough for someone who sends out threats and acted with deliberate intent? Intention seems to be the key. If you saw the text messages,
This is the smoking gun moment, guys. Haley reads the actual text messages that Bryanna sent 1 week before the murder. I need you to listen to every single word. I'd sooner slice Haliyah's throat if she comes near me again. I will cut that bitch on my whole family. This isn't heat of the moment. This is premeditated rage. And the most damning part? She spells out exactly what she's going to do, and then 1 week later, does it. Haley then walks through the timeline of that night with surgical precision. The empty parking lot at 11:30 p.m., passing 2 gas stations to get this specific store, the drinks she bought that she wasn't old enough to purchase. She's basically reconstructing premeditation in real time. This is a mother acting as her own prosecutor because she feels the real ones failed her.
Which I'll read in its entirety. Like, please, both those bitches can go to hell. Haliyah got my niece taken from me. The audacity of either of them to say they miss me. I'd sooner slice Haliyah's throat if she comes near me again. 'Cause I know she called me off no caller ID. One of her buddies told me who was there, and she went past my house in a Mustang. My brother woke me up and told me, and I got in a car chasing after them, but they dipped. My nephew was there. I was pissed. I will cut that bitch on my whole family if she tries showing up to my family's home again. Haliyah hangs out with my brother's baby's mom. That's a pathetic little bitch. That's why she misses me.
I need to warn you. What we're about to show is disturbing, but it's crucial. This is the surveillance footage the judge referenced. You see Haliyah pacing outside, clearly agitated. Then Bryanna exits the store. Key detail, she has drinks in her hands. No weapon visible. She heads straight for her car, not toward Haliyah. This is important because the defense claims she was ambushed. But watch Haliyah's friend filming. He says, "She's scared, bro." And then Mackenzie, Haliyah's sister, is heard screaming, "Get off my sister." The actual stabbing is obscured, but you see the moment the knife comes out. The prosecution freezes it at the exact moment Bryanna lunges forward. Remember what the mother said. She was backing up until she wasn't. This video is why the judge called it unjustifiable rage.
It is, Your Honor. Not quite at this point in time, but it is my desire.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. Your Honor, this is a case of tragedy. Tragedy that resulted in the killing of a young woman named Haliyah Colbertson. Haliyah was 17 years old at the time of her death. Your Honor, this tragic killing is a direct result of rage. To put it plainly, Bryanna Barozzini stabbed Haliyah Colbertson because she was angry. There is no doubt that Bryanna Barozzini's actions on March 26 of 2023 were provoked by Haliyah Colbertson. Haliyah wanted to engage in a fistfight with Bryanna. Haliyah began arguing with Bryanna inside of the 161 smoke shop when the two ran into each other by mere coincidence. Haliyah challenged Bryanna to a fight. When asked to leave the 161 smoke shop, Haliyah proceeded to wait for Bryanna outside. Once Bryanna came outside, Haliyah still pushed for the two to have a fist fight. And that's exactly what Haliyah did, Your Honor. She engaged. She slapped Bryanna Barozzini in the face. Your Honor, all of that is fact. It is reasonable that those actions would anger Bryanna Barozzini. However, none of those actions justify Bryanna Barozzini taking a knife and plunging it into Haliyah's clavicle. Rather, that is an act of unjustifiable rage. A stabbing is a disproportionate response to a slap. Your Honor, today this court has the responsibility of deciding the appropriate sentence for Ms. Barozzini. I anticipate that the defense will ask the court to determine that Haliyah's actions are mitigating facts that warrant Ms. Barozzini being sentenced to a term of probation. Your Honor, the state submits to the court that the plea resolution in this case already factored in the mitigating circumstances surrounding this case. The unjustified killing of Haliyah Colbertson warrants the maximum prison sentence allowed by law. Your Honor, you've already heard from the family of the victim.
Now, here's where the defense flips the script. Bryanna's attorney argues this wasn't mutual combat, it was an assault. He shows his angle of the security footage, pointing out Bryanna had drinks in her hands, that she took 30 steps backward, that she was in fear. He claims she was backing up away from Miss Colbertson. But watch the judge's reaction here. He's not buying it completely. The attorney even admits, yes, she pursued her and stabbed her. We don't disagree with that. What he's really arguing is that she snapped after being slapped and threatened. He's saying this is why plea deals exist, because juries might see it as self-defense. But listen to how he describes Haliyah's friends. They videoed it for content. He's trying to shift blame. Does it work? Keep listening.
I just would like to note this from the pre-sentence investigation, because I agree with the PSI writer. The PSI writer writes that there was an accountable attitude towards the incident offense expressed by the offender. Unfortunately, she has a tendency to assume victim stance by focusing on the alleged actions of the victim rather than her own. Your Honor, I think that that's an articulate summation of what happened in this case. Your Honor, the purposes of felony sentencing, as you know, are to protect the public from future crime by the offender, to punish the offender, and to promote effective rehabilitation of the offender. Those overriding principles in this case demand prison. Your Honor, the state asked this court to give Ms. Barozzini the maximum potential prison sentence allowed by law. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll hear from the defense in litigation.
Your Honor, thank you. I have submitted a sentencing memorandum wherein I address all of the factors I believe the court must consider in deciding whether this case is one that is more serious or less serious, whether recidivism is more likely or less likely. And in my memorandum, I've encouraged the court to come to the conclusion that although this is a serious offense, that this particular form of the offense is less serious compared to other forms of the same offense. I don't by any means want to minimize the effect that this has had on Ms. Colbertson, her family and friends. I appreciate their being here today and the opportunity they had to address the court. I will not repeat or review those factors. I think the memorandum was sufficient. Additionally, I did attach letters of support from family and friends of Bryanna, and again, I won't present that for a second time here in the courtroom. I do think the record should reflect we have read the pre-sentence investigation. We find it generally to be accurate. We do have some, what we see here, and I apologize, in the upper right-hand corner is 224551, and that's Ms. Colbertson leaving with the friends that she was with after being told to leave the store. Now, Your Honor, I'm going to fast forward this, because there's a period of time, to 48, 47, 25, I'll do it right there. And there, Your Honor, you can see Ms. Colbertson pacing back and forth in front of the store. And there, 22:48 and 24 seconds is when Bryanna and her friend exit the store. Now, it has been certainly implied that she came out to accept the challenge to fight Ms. Colbertson. But I believe that the evidence is anything but that. She comes out with drinks in her hand, not alcoholic drinks, no weapon in her hand, clearly not coming out in order to engage into a fight. Further, as I play this video a little further, we see that she and her boyfriend take a direct path to the car in which they had come. They didn't go looking for Ms. Colbertson, Ms. Colbertson's friends. They were minding their business, thinking it had been somehow resolved or over, and they were heading just to peacefully go home. Again, no weapon, drinks in her hand, which makes it difficult to fight somebody with drinks in your hand, but it's clearly that she wasn't coming out expecting to be involved in a fist fight, the mutual combat which has been implied. And then you can see that Ms. Colbertson approaches from what on this video is from the left. That's, unfortunately, we have no volume. However, Mr. Barrage, who was a friend of Ms. Colbertson's, had the opportunity and took that opportunity to video Ms. Colbertson as Ms. Colbertson was waiting for Bryanna to come out of the store. I'd like to play.
Haliyah, what you about to do, bro?
Come outside the door, man!
Where's she at, bro?
Right here, bitch! Come outside!
She's scared, bro.
Right, you just gonna take your time real quick.
She's scared. Haliyah, you should drag her out the store, Buzz.
I'm outside! My butt, bitch!
No, we waiting right here till you get your ones. I've been waiting to see her ass get beat for a minute, bro.
Talking about cocaine. Who is sitting there doing cocaine?
You know what that clearly shows is
This is it. This is Bryanna's moment to speak. And it's brief. Very brief. She says she understands the harm and that not a day goes by that this incident hasn't been on my mind. She mentions prayer, but here's what she doesn't say. She doesn't directly apologize to the family. She doesn't explain why she brought a knife. She doesn't explain the text messages. It's a carefully worded statement that checks the remorse box for the record. Compare this to the 20-plus minutes of raw grief you just heard from Haliyah's family. The contrast is stark. It's performative versus real. And notice she speaks for less than 60 seconds. That's telling.
From the very first time that I met Bryanna and her family, which was early April of 2023, she has expressed remorse and an understanding of the harm that she had caused. It's one of the very first conversations that we all had in my office was the effect that this had on the Colbertson family and friends. And I know that there has not been an opportunity for her to send a letter or apologize or try to even explain what happened that night because I made it clear to everybody they should have no contact and didn't want to make things worse. So for that, was my decision and my client was following my directions in that. Your Honor, as I suggested in the sentencing memorandum, we believe that a period of community control would be appropriate based on the specific factors and circumstances of this case. Thank you.
Thank you. You have the right to make a statement. It's up to you. You don't have to. It's up to you.
I never once thought I would be here today with these charges. I also have never been one to start a fight. I'm always the person to back away from confrontation. Not a day goes by that this incident hasn't been on my mind. I understand and feel for the victim's family as I know the harm I have caused them is indescribable. I also feel for my own family as the situation has caused them a lot of pain. I can understand and appreciate the harm that I have caused now. I will be living with this guilt the rest of my life. I took a life and I understand the victim's family will suffer for the rest of their lives, as will my family for what I've put them through. I pray and will continue to pray for all parties involved.
Here we go. The moment everyone in that room has been waiting for. The judge starts by acknowledging the tragedy of two young women acting immaturely. He says, "In my day, you had a fist fight. Now, everybody wants to bring a weapon." But then he drops the hammer. 3 years. Maximum sentence for involuntary manslaughter, but with the possibility of early release after 1 year, he tells Bryanna straight up, "Your family will get to see you grow up, have a wedding. They'll never get that opportunity." He knows it's not enough for the family, but he calls it appropriate. Watch Haley's face in the background. She's shaking her head. The judge even says he was ready for trial, but I don't make the decisions about plea bargains. That, right there, that's a judge publicly distancing himself from the deal he's passing the buck while passing sentence. And that final line to Bryanna, "If you have a bad prison record, you're not getting out early." It's a threat wrapped in a sentence. The gavel falls, and you can hear a pin drop.
This is a tragedy. Two young women, both acting somewhat immaturely. In my day, you had a fist fight, you had a fist fight. Either won or you lost. Now everybody wants to bring a weapon. There are mitigating factors here. She is eligible for probation. I'm not going to give her probation, but she's eligible for probation. Your family's going to get to see you, spend time with you, watch you grow up, see your wedding. They'll never get that opportunity. I do believe the case was, I don't control plea bargains, but I think it was an appropriate plea bargain. I was fully ready to go to trial. We started a trial. I don't make the decisions about plea bargains, but I think it was an appropriate one, having watched and reviewed all this. So the courts considered the factors in sentencing in 29, 11, and 12, and gone through the more serious factors, less serious factors. You have no record whatsoever. You have a lot of people who think a lot of you, and you obviously have a lot of good things in your life. So did she. That's what makes this a tragedy. I'm going to give you a 3-year prison sentence, 3 days jail credit. You are going to have the ability for early release, and I will consider that at the appropriate time. They'll have the right to come to court and dispute that. You will go to prison. If you have a bad prison record, you're not getting out early. So you need to avoid conflict in prison and/or any serious rule violations. Once if you get out of prison early, you'll be under the court's supervision and probation, my supervision. If you don't get out early, you'll serve your sentence, and when you do get out, you will be supervised for a period of 1 to 3 years. It's called post-release control. Post-release, you're out of prison. Control of prison authorities will assign you a parole officer and monitor your behavior. If you would violate, you could go back for another 1.5 years. So if everything went wrong for you, you could do 4.5 years. You do well in prison, take programming, you did accept responsibility here, you have a chance to get out early. They're going to take you into custody now. You may have her sign that form, please, prison imposed.
Yeah, would you waive the fine and court costs?
Fines and court costs are waived.
Thank you.
The weapon will be confiscated and destroyed. I do want to thank everybody. I think everybody obeyed the rules of the court in a tough situation.
We just watched a family walk out of court with a life sentence of grief, while the killer walked away with 3 years. 1 year served. Maybe. This isn't justice, it's bureaucracy dressed as compassion. Haliyah Colbertson was 17. She made teenage mistakes, but she didn't deserve to die for them. Her killer brought a knife, made threats, washed the blood off her clothes, and still got to call it involuntary. So remember Haliyah's name. Remember her mother picking out a casket to keep her warm. Remember what real consequence looks like. Because until we stop calling rage immaturity and murder a mistake, more families will bury their daughters while the system sleeps. Haliyah Colbertson. Forever 17. Gone, but not forgotten.